Hey guys, welcome to episode 15 of the Mile 20 podcast, where epic shit happens. I am Laura, and I am here with my two besties,
Whoop, whoop.
Lori and our friend Julie, who we've talked about a lot over the past couple of episodes. So
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
we're super excited. We invited Julie to join us because she ran this marathon with us, and we had kind of an epic time. And we figured that Julie, you have some cool perspectives on what happens during the race. So just definitely going in and bringing you into the fun here.
Yes.
So what are we covering this week? We're going to cover down on a bad back situation. I think last week we alluded to when we talked to Edith about broken backs,
Yes.
So bad back this week. And then go birds. Go birds.
Go birds.
Go birds.
All day, every day.
Yep.
Every day.
Yep. And then we're going to cover down on our beverage of the week, and we'll cut over to Lori for that, because Lori designed these absolutely fabulous beverages for us for the sake of Rhode Island. We'll walk through our epic week update, and then we're going to cover down on the Newport Marathon, the Amica Newport Marathon, which is in Newport, Rhode Island. So that little teeny tiny state, we're going to cover down on it today.
Yes.
And then our teaser for next week is going to be Broad Street. So Lori and I are running the Broad Street Marathon, Broad Street 10 miler, and we actually have Maggie, her daughter, and Maggie's boyfriend Connor is running his first 10 miler race of his life. So that'll be super exciting. All right. And then just a reminder, please check out our socials. We are out everywhere. So please check us out, like us, subscribe. And
subscribe.
Let us know that you're liking the content. All right, well, so Laura,
Yes.
what is this beautiful beverage that you have created for Julie and I and yourself?
It is a sweet Rhode Island red. Sweet Rhode Island red. Sorry, just listening.
Little Tina.
Yes, thanks Tina and Ike for that lovely tune. It is a tequila-based drink with Chambord.
Chambord.
Anyway, lemon juice, some bitters, some ginger beer, and muddled raspberries.
That sounds super yummy, yeah?
So cheers, ladies.
There we go.
To our sweet Rhode
Cheers.
Island
Cheers.
road trip.
It's like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So here we go. So they're delicious.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it.
Yes, I'm glad we got some mixer sticks in there and mixed them up a little bit.
Yeah, a lot better.
Yeah.
So epic week updates, ladies. What have you guys been up to?
Jill, what
in
have
the
you been
last
up
week?
to?
My excitement this week has been watching the NFL draft.
Woo!
Are you happy with the? She's of course a Philadelphia Eagles fan, like the rest of us are.
Huge
are you happy?
Birds fan. Yes, there was lots of drama. It did disappoint. Glad Shadar finally got. I was pulling for the kid, I think. But yeah, it was just exciting to have a little taste of football again.
I feel a little bad for the kid because they are just killing him on social media.
Yeah. And I do believe that he is a product of his environment that he has been brought up in. And,
Who were we talking about? Sanders?
Shadar.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. That was totally not fair, what they've been doing to that poor kid. So I hope he gives them a big middle finger and fuck you, and turns out like Aaron Rodgers and kills it in the league.
Yes.
Yeah.
Except in teams that do not play the Eagles.
Yes.
Agreed. Or he just always loses to the Eagles.
Yeah.
So Julie, as part of watching the draft, what do you think about the outfits that these guys all get dudded out in?
I think
we were talking about it during our run the other day.
That's part of the fun of watching it. I'll tell you what, I just appreciate all of it. I don't understand what half of them are trying to go for with their
It's
looks.
the pimp. It's like the big pimpin'.
Yeah. But Abdul Carter reminded me a little of Stevie Wonder. But,
oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah. Why did he have big glasses on?
Yeah, big dark glasses. But
he wore like a chieftain,
Yeah.
like a robe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't
that's
see it, but I
awesome.
did look it up after we went running the other day, and you told me
Yeah.
about that. I was like, all right, I got to check out this guy's garb. We
Yeah.
liked the guy who looked like the leprechaun. He had a like an Eagles green, very shiny,
Yes.
satiny kind of like, I don't know, the jacket like was like a wrap like across his stomach, and then he had this medallion that was like big gold, right?
Yep.
And it looked like it was something from like the like Temple of Doom.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Where
It
did
was-
he go?
I have no idea. Bengals, I think.
Bengals.
I love that a guy got drafted by the LA Raiders wearing diamond-studded Crocs. I
Are
thought,
you serious?
I am dead serious.
Wow.
My daughter's boyfriend lives in Crocs.
All right, I gotta Google that
And
now.
Diamond-studded Crocs. That's like an oxymoron.
Yeah. Yeah, like the gibbets were diamonds.
That's
That is
crazy.
an oxymoron.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
No,
crazy.
I
But you
understand.
know what? He was just being himself.
Well, I was excited because the Eagles ended up drafting. Was it first round? We got a another linebacker, didn't we?
Yeah.
To go opposite of Braun, right?
Zach Bond,
Yeah. So so super excited about that. So go Howie. But yeah, my week, since we last talked, I mean, we had Easter, kind of in between. So I went over to my sister's house, and it was nice. She hosted an absolutely wonderful dinner. It was very, very low key, beautiful day outside. So we got to sit out on the deck. And then, I think the cool thing that I've been doing is I'm catching up on doing some Audible books. Y'all know me. I listen to Audible books on like a speed 1.5, and I had like 2 books.
It's
that
next level.
It is totally next level.
Way
yeah,
too fast.
And I listen to it when I get ready
She
in the
listens
morning.
to the Chipmunks.
Yes, I do. except when there are dirty scenes, and then I like slow it down
Oh, baby.
because that would sound really, really awkward.
Fast forward through that.
Right.
What?
But I don't know. I had two days where I listened to like 2 books like in 3 days, and so I'm just kind of like on a roll right now. So I just literally like finished another one this morning, and I just started another one. So this is like my 4th book in like a week and a half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I get on like a kick, and I've just hit like a lot of really great books that I am totally into.
Yeah, what was that one you sent us? You sent us one that you really liked, and I have it bookmarked. but I can't-
Broken Country.
Yeah.
Yeah, Broken Country was a really, really good book. I think the other one was like a river, or like as a river. I don't
Yeah.
know. We can get it and get the link to the book, but just absolutely love eating up like some really, really good fiction books.
Yeah, I'm
So-
excited to dive into that one for sure.
Yeah,
You're that
yeah, and
excited
then
about it.
just doing some my typical like springtime, working out in the gardens and what have you. I've just been traveling so much that it's just been very, very nice to kind of get planted and have a little bit of time at home, and and then yesterday I went shopping with Maddie, my daughter. And her and her husband are going on their honeymoon on the 14th
Did you guys
of May.
Did she have a nice haul?
Yeah. We got a couple of cute dresses for her, and some shorts and some jewelry and stuff. So so it was a good day.
So I also am going to inquire because I had gotten both Maddie and Laura. They kind of Maddie moved into her apartment, got married, and then I was very late giving gifts to people. And Laura, they got their villa down at the Chesapeake Bay, and I gave them each a gift card to this place in Wayne, Pennsylvania called The Nest.
Oh, loved it.
And she had never been there before, and I'm like, "You're gonna love this place." So, what did you guys wind up?
Oh my gosh! So Maddie bought a bunch of stuff for like entertaining, like doing like charcuterie platters.
Oh, nice.
And like just some really, really cool stuff. I bought a couple of things. I bought some trivets for the Maryland house. I bought a crab for the Maryland house, and then I bought like a king and queen figurine things, and and then a wood book holder.
Nice.
So I used the gift card that you gave, and then I added some to it, and
I-
we walked in, and Maddie was like, "Oh, Mom, I could spend like some money in here."
Oh yeah, that place is amazing.
It is amazing. It's
Yeah.
got like nooks and crannies everywhere. So Julie, we have to bring you there.
Yes.
It is. Have you been?
I don't believe I have.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't believe I've
Oh,
ever
it's
been out.
absolutely incredible. It's just like, I
Yeah,
just loved it.
it's like a decorator's paradise, and I wish I had the same skill that Laura has.
I don't either.
That she has such an eye for decor that I do not have. But yeah, I'd love to go with you, so you
yeah.
can be like,
You
okay,
can be our shopper.
you need to buy that to put.
Well,
this
I was like
there.
disappointed because I'm like, God, I wish I had seen this store or been to this store before I had decorated like this room or that room,
Yeah.
down in Maryland, because that was totally the vibe. So
Yeah.
no, I thank you
Although
for
the
that.
vibe changes, because I have not seen a lot of crab things there in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're getting more seasonal stuff in just because
Yeah, they had like a
Probably.
corner of,
Yeah.
of like some nautical, beachy,
Oh, great.
lake
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah.
Did you say lake stuff?
Yes, I
Won't
was
match
like,
my decor.
I know. Well, I was thinking with Julie, the plate that I broke when we were all up in Cranberry Lake, maybe.
Faith doesn't know.
No,
about
he
that.
does.
Oh, he does now. She spilled
I
the
did.
beans.
I did. I shared it that I had spilled, that I had dropped it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was checking to see if Dave was actually listening, and then
knocked
he's
it
like,
off the wall, didn't
so.
Yeah. I shut the wood box and then like
Yeah.
it reverberated
I've
up the
slammed
wall.
that wood box 100 times. It's never fallen.
I might have body checked the wall too to make that ugly plate fall.
Whoops.
All right, so Laura, you have been the busiest out of the three of us. In 10 words or less, what have you been up to? No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
what
that's
have you,
an impossibility
yeah.
for
What
me.
have you been up to?
So, as some of you guys may have noticed, we were on Zoom last week when we were interviewing Edith. So my youngest daughter was on spring break, and I had not been down to see my mom in Fort Myers, Florida in quite a while.
Yeah, a while, right?
So we decided to hop in a car and drive down. And at first, I've done that drive so many times, and it's not my favorite drive to make, but
It's boring.
yeah.
In certain spots, it's very boring.
Yeah, it just is.
South of the border can be fun.
I know. And I have driven by that more times than I can count, and I've never
Buc-ee's can be
stopped.
fun.
You've never
There-
stopped?
I've never stopped. And
Oh my gosh,
and-
girl.
Ella and I
I'm
were
so
like,
disappointed in you.
we're stopping on the way home, but then we changed our departure time and decided that we were going to make a pit stop at the Magic Kingdom in Disney and drive straight home from Orlando. So when you're looking at a 16-hour day on the road, stopping at south of the border drops way low on your priority list. So, so we did not stop this time. But it's still on the books, and I'm sure I'll drive down there several more times. On the whole getting flipped off theme from
Yes.
4
We
episodes
heard-
ago.
we heard
Nothing. I was
keeping
on,
the track record.
I was on 202. It was in the evening. There was two cars. It's a 4-lane highway, so there was 2 cars. The one car in the fast lane was not moving very fast. Maybe I was a little close, but I wasn't obnoxiously close. But it was a car, and I'm a lifted Jeep, so I'm sure my
Looks a little intimidating.
My lights were probably in his eyes. But he took his sweet time to pass the car and then finally get over. And as I'm passing him, I can see his middle finger at the right up against his glass, and I just started laughing because I'm like, of course I get flicked off. And Ella's like, what did you do, Mom? I'm like, I don't know. You saw me drive.
Oh
What
my
did
God.
I do? She's like, nothing. I'm like, well, there you go.
All right, dude. So
welcome back to Philly.
I got flipped off in Ardmore yesterday.
Yes. What did you do?
And so I was in my Jeep, and I was in a little back. They have like little back roads in some of those towns, right? So I was just going slow because I was going up to a stop sign to make a right-hand turn. And this woman comes flying out of a parking lot. And I assume because it's like a very, very probably non-trafficked road, she didn't even look.
Oh my gosh.
And she almost hit me. And dude.
Yeah,
and,
right?
And I laid on my horn like there was no tomorrow. And she starts flipping me off.
because that's your fault.
And I was like, are you kidding me? So then by the time, we get up to the stop sign, she's still in her little tirade. And I'm like, it was not me that just ran right through the parking lot. So there are some really challenging people in the Philadelphia area. For those of you who have not visited Philly. So just be forewarned, chances are 50-50 shot, you might get the bird.
But I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
No. So anyway, back to Florida. So we drove down. Everything was great. Spent a lot of time cooking for my mom because she lives alone. So I thought maybe some home cooked meals would be nice. We did beach things. We did pool things. We stayed out in the sun. It was lovely. I got to meet her boyfriend, Papa John.
Papa John.
Not
the pizza guy.
Not the pizza guy. I jokingly call all of her boyfriends Papa, whatever their first name is. So he's now Papa John, and I did call him that to his space because he was very kind and treated us to a lovely lunch. And I said, thanks, Papa John.
How did he respond?
He just kind of giggled. He was a very nice guy.
All right, good.
And then we did Disney and we went to the Magic Kingdom and had a wonderful time.
Can we talk about your Space Mountain picture?
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Well, so
I don't care what else you did.
I
Right?
need to hear the story.
Okay, so when we lived in Ocala, Florida, we lived there for 8 years. We were an hour and 15 minutes from Disney. We had small children. There isn't a lot culturally to do in Florida. We had annual passes.
Yeah.
So we
That's
are
to be expected. Yes.
Yeah.
That's cultural.
Yes.
So especially Epcot.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
but that's besides the point. So like you know where the cameras are on all the rides. And so it kind of has always become a thing with the kids that we would come up with what do you want to do?
Like when they take a picture of you on the ride.
On the ride,
Okay.
like, what do you want to do? Like, we used to make, like, Lady Gaga's or, like, pretend like we were strangling each other. Like, we just have some funny things over the years. Ella and I on Tiana's adventure did, like
Charlie's Angels.
yeah, with fake guns on our fingers and stuff. Anyway, so they're like, Space Mountain has 2 cars that go on the roller coaster, and they each seat 3 people. And they were like, do you mind if you guys are separated? And we were like, no. We're like, we don't care. So Ella was in the front car. I was in the back car with 2 young girls. And I kind of turned around to them because I'm like, is there anything in particular you guys want to do for the camera? I know where the camera is, blah, blah, blah. They were like, no, that's fine. No, whatever. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what could I do just to be funny? And I'm like, so I'm going to pretend like I'm completely passed out. and so as we're approaching it, I just go completely limp. And then the photo shoots off, and they're so cute in this photo. And they're like, the girl in the back's doing bunny ears to the girl in front of her. And then there's like me looking like I'm a passed out drunk in the front.
It was bad. It was
They
bad.
probably thought they were being all funny and cute with the bunny ears, and then you go and then trump them.
It's like a photo bomb from hell.
It completely is, and it became many, many memes the other night.
Oh yeah, Laura's been shooting off the memes with it, which is fabulous.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Yeah, so we had a great time. It was fun to be with Ella, and we got to ride Tron, which I hadn't ridden that one yet, twice, and I haven't ridden what used to be Splash Mountain, which is now Tiana's adventure. And a hot take on this, I'm gonna feel terrible, but I feel like they did Tiana a great disservice. You know, Tiana's Bayou, and they put her in Splash Mountain, which is Red Rock. And there was a part when you're in the line going up to the beginning of the ride where you go through a salt mine, because it's a salt mine. There's no salt mines in the Bayou, and there was nothing that they could do to or they just didn't want to spend the money to change it.
They didn't totally dismantle it. That's a shame.
It just felt...
Shame on you, Disney.
Yeah, like Disney is
Universal.
better than that.
Yeah.
Disney is so much better than that. I know they're better than that, and I felt like they could have done something else with Splash Mountain if they wanted to get rid of that current theme and move it to something else and do something different with Tiana.
Yeah.
Or like take what they did with Seven Dwarfs. They could have transported Seven Dwarfs and put that in Splash Mountain, and that would have made sense with the mining, and then make that a bayou. But I guess that would have affected 2 rides. But anyway, I was a bit disappointed with Tiana's. I felt like it was a disservice.
I remember you saying that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was pretty much it.
Cool.
Not a whole lot.
No.
We spent one day, I'll make it quick, down on Fort Myers Beach, which is slowly coming back from all the hurricanes.
Oh, yeah. How is it with because of the hurricane from a couple of years ago?
It's pretty much cleaned up. It's 100% cleaned up. There's just still a lot of empty spaces and so much new construction, like new buildings, new houses, like people that have upgraded, because there were still like a lot of ranch style homes on Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah.
And now everything is lifted
raised.
and concrete and all of that. But we did go to Doc Ford's Rum Bar and Grill, in which I have one quick funny story there. We were there, it was like 11 o'clock, maybe noon. We were there kind of for lunch, and there were these 2 dudes that walk up completely inebriated. Like the guy's sitting there having lunch, barely able to keep his eyes open. They finish before us, and we start watching them walk. We're on like stairs right next to the stairs, and we're watching them go down, like barely able to make it down the stairs. like pausing at the bottom of the stairs to get himself together to walk. We're like, where the hell are they going? Like, really, where are they going? They get onto a boat, start it,
and drive off.
but not very eloquently, not without slamming into the dock a few times and all of that. And I'm like, dudes, like, that's terrible. It was scary. Funny watching them be drunk for a while, but then when they got behind the wheel of the boat, not so funny.
Good.
Went over to Margaritaville. They have a big Margaritaville property now. Super nice. Went to their bar and a lighthouse bar. We went to a lot of bars. Saw a lot of weird shit because it's Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah.
Drunk people in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff.
No, that's awesome. That's I'm glad you guys got a chance to go to Disney.
Yeah.
Because I know you guys absolutely enjoy the hell out of that. And Julie, you guys enjoy going to Disney too, right?
We do.
All right, so it sounds like we had some really, really cool stuff going on between the three of us, like exciting travel and like, just like kind of like run of the mill stuff. So, but living our epic lives. So before we jump into talking about the marathon, let's talk about Julie.
Yay.
So Julie, we've mentioned you a bunch of times in previous episodes because you are completely threaded throughout not only our running life, but like our friend life. So for our lovely listeners, what makes Julie tick? We asked Edith that the other day. What makes Julie Julie? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, hi, I'm Julie.
She's not an alcoholic.
I wasn't prepared for this. I have known Laura for 20 years. She is the one who got me started running when my daughters I have two daughters, Maggie and Caroline, who are now 21 and 24. But they were little, like one and 4 when she got me running. And it was, again, over cocktails, she made me convinced that running a 5K would be a good idea for the first time at age 35.
It's always a good idea over cocktails.
Yeah,
always.
And after 5K, next thing you know, she's like, oh, well, you could totally run a 10-miler then. Well, you know what? A 10-miler is just another 5K and you're doing a half. And
it's runner's math.
And next thing you know, you do a half and, oh, well, all you have to do is double that. You could have run that again today,
halfway
right?
there.
So within a couple of years, I went from not running at all to running a full marathon with this one.
And we were next door neighbors. I mean, we lived like 2 houses down from each other, which was awesome.
And how many did you guys run prior to me meeting you? Was
One.
it just the Philly?
Yeah, just the Philly.
Just Philly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Newport was actually my second.
Second marathon.
Yeah, I've since run 4, but this was my second. I have had a bunch of foot and back injuries over the years, so I've kind of come and gone with my running, but yeah.
And then once we got into like the little running club with Mary Beth.
Yeah.
Right. And then Lori got like pulled into the running club, like where you joined it. And then we all connected. And then, like between and we it's funny because like Mary Beth was doing like the running club, but then, like she hasn't stuck with like the marathons, but then like, I know you guys are pretty tight. You guys go shopping, do stuff together. But then the 4 of us will do stuff together. Like, because, the 4 of us went, what was it, in February up to Cranberry Lake together, right, for Girls Weekend. So so it's awesome, like being able to just kind of like float in between each other and stuff.
Yeah, and the 3 of us are the ones, like we meet at least once, God, I hope, unless we're traveling. But we try and get out 2 to 3 times a week for our short runs together.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So we make an effort to stay connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
through
We probably know too much about each other's like biological like cycles in the morning. And who
everything.
poops when and how long each person takes and so forth. And
For sure.
that's a runner thing, by the way.
Yeah.
So we definitely in the morning, like if you haven't pooped, you let your friends know.
Yeah, it's like I got the other
You just let
morning
them know.
for our long run. We did a 6-mile long run preparing for Broad Street next week, and unprompted, I texted her. I said, "I didn't poop."
Yeah, and I'm like,
she
okay.
didn't ask. She doesn't care.
Nope.
I'm just
And she's like,
I'm just
can you give
letting
me
you
to
know.
6:30? And I'm like, yep, check. So it's definitely a thing. But we have some really, really fun emojis and memes and everything else for pooping.
Yes, that's for sure.
Because we're classy that way.
Yeah.
So Joel, the Newport Marathon. So in Rhode Island, what made you want to sign up for it? And like, because you just mentioned that this was like your second marathon, and like I felt like we had a positive experience doing the first one in Philly, right?
I had, oh yeah. You know what? I'm not exactly sure what it was, although I did, because we ran Baltimore.
Yes.
10 days later, I kind of had, that whole marathon maniac goal in mind. I was already a half fanatic, so I kind of they had fun sweatshirts. I wanted the sweatshirt, so I ran 2 marathons.
Hell yes.
To get the crazy person sweatshirt. So I'm not quite sure why this one. Probably it was just timing between this and Baltimore.
Yeah.
I work full time. My children were younger, so I didn't have a lot of time to take a long trip or, that sort of thing. So the logistics really just worked out for this one. And I've always wanted to go to Newport.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lori, this one was on your list.
Yeah.
So because the Grandmaster list.
The Grandmaster.
Yeah. So why did you pick Newport? Because when you had Newport on there, I was like, okay, cool. I'm game. I'm like.
Yeah, I think for me, Rhode Island to begin with is tiny.
Yes.
It's a very small state, so there's not a lot of options. But I mean, scenery. And Newport's famous for the cliff walk, the mansions, the beach. So you kind of get that whole New England feel in a race. Tiny race, though. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize how small it was. I don't know what the half numbers were, but they definitely keep their numbers just shy of 700. It seems like consistently every year.
Yeah, because when we did it in 2018, so we did it on October 7th. So it's an early fall race, which is nice because you're starting to get some of the change in the leaves in Rhode Island, but we had 648 finishers, and in 2024 there were 677. So yeah, that's pretty consistent.
Yeah. I'm guessing that they're probably permitted for probably 700 or something.
But it was nice because it wasn't super crowded, especially at the ass end of the race, which is where we were. But before we get to that, what was the terrain like? Flat, hilly, combo?
I'd say rolling.
Rolling?
Yeah.
There were a couple hills in the first half was through the town of Newport, and then the second half was, along the coast and everything. So I would say there were a couple little hills in the first half in the town, but then definitely rolling.
Yeah.
On the second.
Yeah, I think they say that the elevation gain is 847 feet total. So, I mean, it gets a little chunky towards the back half.
Do you guys remember in the very beginning though, running through town, there was a hill we ran up right in the beginning, right out of the gate.
Yeah, because you start at Easton's Beach, which is kind of like this little spit of land that's between Newport proper and the town of Middletown.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so to go anywhere from Easton's Beach is up.
Yeah.
Just a little bit because everything else is higher.
I just remember that oh crap, man. We're I don't know. I freaking hate hills. But it just starting out that race with a hill, it was okay,
Here we go.
Yeah.
So we drove up. So you guys want to talk about our trip up with how many there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us in the car?
Well,
the kids, 6 of us.
Yeah, the kids. We had all 3 kids with me.
The 3 of us and the 3 kids.
I'm still not really clear what Dave was doing.
Dave was working.
He was traveling.
Yeah, he was traveling.
Met us there.
He met us there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so
he
I
had his
rode in
Audi.
the back of the Durango with the kids.
Yes. It was one big party on the way
Yes.
up. And driving up from Philly, it's supposed to, on paper, it's 6 hours. Off paper, you have to get through Connecticut, and Connecticut sucks.
For driving.
I feel like it was closer to 7 hours, if not 8, and that had nothing to do with my kids needing to stop and everything to do with Connecticut traffic.
It's Connecticut traffic is terrible.
Sucks.
Yes. Yep.
I love Connecticut, hate the traffic.
But Connecticut is for fucking. Yep.
In case anybody forgot.
Yep. So we drove up. So that one pretty easy, navigation. and you did really well. I think you rented the Airbnb,
Yeah.
right, for that, and that was in Middletown, Rhode Island.
Yes.
Cute little Cape Cod cottage.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was cute. I didn't love the location for the start.
Yeah.
I feel like we got dropped off at the start. I
Yeah,
don't think
we did.
Yeah, we did not walk down. And I felt like we were on a busy road, if my memory serves
Yes.
correctly, which I didn't love either. But yeah, the building and the Airbnb itself was very cute. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, and
Beachy.
then the weather that day. I mean, it started out nice. I mean, when we look at pictures, I mean, we were wearing sweatshirts when we first started, or like long sleeve shirts.
Yeah.
But then it got a little spicy,
Yeah.
hot, right?
And it was cloudy. I think
was cloudy
I think
and
we had a
overcast.
little bit of
Yeah.
like mugginess, kind of thick air
Yeah.
settle in.
Yeah, because again, it's like early fall, so it's like it's hit or miss
Yeah.
up in the Northeast states on whether or not you were going to get a really hot day. So this was a high of 77 by the time we were finished, to the point where, and I'm just gonna jump to this.
Oh, yeah,
y'all
sure.
like went in the water
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
like afterward.
It felt great.
Yeah.
Yes, nothing better than soaking your legs in colder water after a run. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Keep that inflammation down.
Yeah,
The
and
second best thing was going back to the house, and there was actually an outside shower.
Oh my God, I forgot about the outside shower.
that's
was
right.
Awesome.
Oh, yes, I forgot about the outside shower.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Because I think there was only like one bathroom. Was there one or two bathrooms in the
Well,
house?
there was.
So-
I remember there was one in the basement because I pooped in it,
yeah. Yes. Yes.
and then at least one upstairs.
There was one upstairs.
Yeah, there was definitely one upstairs, but I didn't care. There could have been 10, and I still would have chosen that outside shower any day of the week.
I love it.
It was
I
magical.
absolutely love it. So the course. All right. Well, should we just jump into like the back thing first before we
Yeah.
jump into the course, because it's
Sure.
so
The morning of.
yeah. Well, it was
Or the night
it was the
before.
night before. So we mentioned one of the highlights of this episode is talking about bad backs, and I jokingly talked about like kind of breaking the back last week. The night before the race, so I had my own room in the Airbnb, and I was in my jammies, and the last thing I had to do was plug in my phone, and I reached down for my cord, and I was laying in bed. You know how you reach down to the ground to get your cord, and I completely threw my back out. Now I have a bulge disc.
She has a
Prior to
history
that, I
of
have a
back-
history of bad back, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I called Jim, so my husband. I was hysterical crying before I had even let you guys know. And he's like, "Babe, like if you can't run it, like you can't run it." I'm like, "I'm never coming back to Rhode Island to run." I like no. So I let you guys know, and you both were like, "Holy crap!" Like, so when I told you like that I threw my back out, like where was your headspace at? You were like, "Oh, there's no way she's gonna run the next day."
Well, I don't think I knew until the morning of because I feel like
No.
Oh, did you know?
I
Did
knew the
let-
night before.
Okay, yeah.
I think you guys were downstairs and we were upstairs already in bed.
Okay.
I think
okay.
is what happened. 'Cause
Okay.
I just remember you coming out and Julie had to tie your shoes.
Yes. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
were like, dude.
Yeah, that was absolutely horrendous. Like just trying to, so I felt like I was like kind of like I look like Quasimodo, kind of like like my back was twisted, and just trying to get on my running tights was a feat. And then I came out with my sneakers, and Julie, you were sitting in the kitchen, and I was like, Julie, can you put my sneakers on for me and tie them? And you were like, you're gonna run. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
Like, you really don't need to.
Yeah. So that kind of set the tone
But
for
I
like
think
the whole
we
race.
were also kind of approaching it as, okay, if you get your shoes on and we get started, if we need to stop, we stop.
Right.
Yeah.
At any point we need to stop, we,
We can
stop.
call Dave. Dave can come.
Yes,
grab
like
you
we'll
off the
figure it
course.
out. We
Yeah.
do not have, we'll figure it out. Like
I had
if
it in
this
my
is not-
head, like no matter how much pain I was in, I was like, I'm never coming back to Rhode Island to
Yeah.
run. Like I'm gonna finish this.
And I have to give kudos to the marathon and the organizers. I'm not sure if it's still the same race director or not, but that morning I was very concerned about what was going to happen that day, and I hunted down the race director at the start line, and I was like, listen, I know it's a 6-hour cutoff. My running buddy, we're doing the 50 states. We're going to attempt this. She threw out her back last night, and I'm just letting you know that we may be last. It may be us, but we want to give it a go. And they were like, we will try and accommodate you any way we can. Super sweet about it.
yeah,
Very great.
they were fantastic. And when we
Yeah.
came through the halfway point, like you had pointed out the race director.
Yeah.
And said, and he was like, he had some encouraging words, you know, at that point in time when he saw us come through, and he's like, okay, is that your friend? Like,
Yeah.
you know, he was like checking in with us, and he's like, you guys are doing good. You're doing good. So I just felt like, wow, all right. That was super, just incredible, because, you know, that could have been a very, very different situation.
Like, get off my course.
Right. And you know, and we finished, I don't know, a little after 6 hours. So, I mean,
it wasn't
right. Like,
much
kudos
faster.
to us, but God, the number of F-bombs I dropped during that race, like
was
that
a
was
lot.
it was a lot.
And when you started up that hill, you were like, oh God, because it just, when you start on that uphill, it starts pulling on all those muscles in the back. Your calves start pulling on your lower back, and you were like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was
It couldn't be a fast flat that day.
That was so you know, sometimes when you get hurt, like before you run a race, or even when you're training, or you know, during a race, like, you just, that was my mile 20 moment, right? It was, or like as Edith said, the 261 fearless moment, where you just got to make that decision, like, hey, I need to dig deep. And in my mind, like, much like the broken toe a couple of episodes ago, was like, yeah, you know what? Like, this is a choice, and I'm going to make it. And I don't want to let my friends down. And I don't want to have to travel back here to run. I don't mind traveling back here for leisure, but I don't want to have to travel back here to run. So
one of the funniest things. So, like she said, she dropped a lot of F-bombs. The day was a challenge for Laura. When we got home, I have a chalkboard of the 50 states that I was coloring in each of my states the minute we got home. So I took a video of me coloring in Rhode Island, because just knowing like the monumental effort that went to finishing that race, the satisfaction of the like quarter of an inch.
Yeah, dude, I was
sent it to her, and I'm like, this is just fun.
I was absolutely hysterical laughing with that. Like, that was probably my favorite video from that entire race.
So one thing about the start, which was super cool, I noted on the website when I was looking at what they're doing these days, is that they now have a 6:30 start.
Nice.
So an hour, their normal start time is 7:30. If you think you're going to be running the 6 hours or longer, you can actually start now at 6:30. Now, they do say the aid stations may be setting up and may not be fully prepared for you when you get there, and also the fact that the roads may not be completely closed off as of yet.
Okay.
But it's still, you can still finish within an official time, and they give you that extra hour, which is such a nice perk for back of the packers. I mean, that is a true back of the pack friendly race.
Oh, it totally was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, the start's really pretty. You head up the hill, around the peninsula. At the time, there's one small change to the course. We went into Fort Adams State Park and kind of did a little out and back. It wasn't very long. It was very short. They don't do that anymore. They've actually added that closer to where, like, mile between 9 and 12.
Okay.
On Ledge Road, which is like where the mansions are. I've never been on that part of the road, so I would imagine that might be a little nicer, because you're seeing more mansions, and maybe there's a view at the end of the road, because it actually dead ends like on one of the cliffs.
Yeah, because I recall the Fort Adams State Park area was pretty, but it was like a little remote.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't much there.
Yeah, it was quiet.
There's a park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then from there, you kind of still traveling around the peninsula. There's Benton Point State Park. You spend a little bit of time in there, a couple miles or a mile. And then between mile 9 and 12, you kind of come around and you wind up where all the mansions are.
I loved that part of the race.
Yeah.
We took a lot of pictures between
the
three of us.
I feel like it felt like it was also would have been more shady had the sun been an issue that day.
Yes.
That would have been really nice too, because I felt like there was like a lot of tree covers.
Yeah.
Tree covered road.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, those people do their mansions like
crazy.
Yeah.
The properties, and I don't know. It was neat, because the day prior, and I know we'll get into it, the day prior we had done a little touristy stuff and had gone into some of the mansions, but it was still cool to run around them, and it's just more eye candy, and it's just a nice distraction as a runner to have like really cool things that, you know, like I think we were all doing real estate stuff in our head, right?
Oh yeah,
Like vocally and
we start judging these multi-million-dollar mansions. Like,
I would do this.
Oh, that's not my style. Like all of a sudden, like we're judging.
like what are they doing with that color?
Yeah, like that would be a dream house for me.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just cool too because it's like. It's from a time period of American industry in the heyday of the Rockefellers and Kennedys and
like just big old money.
Big old money.
Yeah.
So Julie, there's something very memorable to me at the halfway point.
Oh, yeah.
You inspired us.
Well, there was an awful lot of people finishing, and we still had another half to go. So Bon Jovi came into my head, and we started singing, you're halfway there. We're halfay there.
Yes.
Yeah. And that just kind of entertained us and helped motivate us for the next round.
Yeah, we were getting a little spicy, I think, because everybody's cheering on the crowd. So
You're almost done. You're almost done.
Yeah. So because of that little spit of land on Easton's Beach, you have to go right by the finish
for the half. Yeah.
And then we were screaming, "Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer." Screaming at the top of our lungs.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was very, very appropriately teed up. So thank you, Julie, for that. And thank you, Lori, for teeing it up.
Yes, absolutely. Julie, that was such a beautiful moment because I was just like, yes, this is my mantra right now.
And it's not to diminish how important music is. When we're running, I know some people opt to not listen to music, but music is such an important facet of just our running repertoire, right?
Absolutely.
And and especially when we had three of us running, we've talked about how Lori, has a speaker and we listen to the music, the two of us. When there's three of us and we're trying to stay in cadence and keep each other motivated, I mean, this is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I've been recently online, and I
know
that it's a very, very hot topic.
This is interesting, Julie. Listen to this one.
So I belong to a couple of different Facebook groups. There's one that's Slow AF Running.
Yeah.
Because I'm
the slow as fuck.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, I should belong to this group because we're slow as fuck. And that's fine because that's what it's about. Celebrating, just getting out there and doing it.
Right.
Doesn't
You don't
matter.
have to be fast.
You don't have to be fast.
Right.
Anyway, so somebody put on there about, thoughts of broadcasting music during a race out loud. I would say about 9. It was very respectful conversation. I felt like it was a great dialogue. But it was definitely like 90 to 95% of people were like, absolutely do not broadcast your music out loud. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear what you're specifically listening to. It was just, it was very clear.
Okay.
And so it's kind of interesting because we have a thing. And I even commented, because there were a lot of people that, there were a few people that were like, you do you. Like, we're only going to see you for a little bit. It's not like we
Right.
You're going to run side by side the entire time.
The entire time,
yes.
yeah. So I just kind of commented, I'm like, listen, y'all are going to hate me because me and my best friend, we got our friends, we got the speaker, we're dancing, we're singing at mile 23, 24, 25. Like, we're making it happen, and it's loud. We're the party in the back.
We are the party in the back. Yeah.
So I recognize that what we do is probably not correct.
But we don't care.
But in this, and there's a lot of times I care about etiquette, but I don't think I care about this one.
No, and I
don't.
can't tell you how many times, because Julie, I'm just thinking about when we ran Baltimore. I think we ran Baltimore and New York, and we had Billy Joel playing Piano Man. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was New York, and we were running, and there a whole, like, we felt like Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people started singing with us, and then next thing you know, like, I don't know, there was like 20 people around us singing like the Piano Man.
Right.
And that's
a moment.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff, and I remember. What's the song? The Tonto song. Jump on it, right? Like I remember one woman doing like the Tonto dance, like in a marathon. So like we have definitely, for those in the back of the pack, we've brought the fun. you know, and have inspired people to have a little bit of fun, you know, as they got a little glimpse of our playlist, and then we went on our way. So yeah. So we're not going to change it.
So at mile 20, Dave and the kids met us there-ish. I can remember us running and me thinking that they were going to be at a point, because I always, you know, drop that pin and I'm like, this is where you need to be. You know, this is the mile 20, blah, blah, blah. And I remember us approaching that and they weren't there. And it was like a little out and back, just tiny. And I was freaking out. But then it was okay.
Yeah.
I went a little mental.
They were literally a quarter mile down the road, but you would have thought our world was ending.
Well, yeah.
We were in complete panic mode.
Well, yes, I went mental.
Yeah.
Well, because it was hot and like muggy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you look forward to like the mile 20 beverage.
Yeah.
It was almost like somebody took the finish line and moved it further away from us.
That is so true. That is exactly what it was like.
That's a great analogy,
That is
Julie.
a great analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, Lori was a little bit of a spaz and meatball when she found Dave and the kids, and we got our beverages. But what were you guys drinking? You guys were both drinking, I think, the same beer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Newport Craft, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a little brewery in Newport that we found, and when did we pick?
The night before.
Like,
I remember, like, oh my God, where are we going to go? What are we going to get?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a spirit mission, and it was right across the street from an adult-only like lounge place that I took
And
a
it is
picture
just
of.
occurring to me that she's only ran one other marathon and choosing to drink in her second one.
I know.
What kind of friends are we?
Because we did not, Julie and I did not drink
drink on the
during the
first one.
first marathon at all, and that was Philly. So
Right.
yeah, no, we did not.
No, so there was the brewery that we went to is Newport Craft, and they're still around. Great brewery. I think we had the Road Rage, which was an IPA at like 8.5%. I did reach out and I tried to get that shipped to us.
Tell you what, there's no wall at 8.5%.
No. Oh God, no.
There's no mile 20.
I'm afraid I'm not
Don't care.
sure I feel my feet anymore at 8.5%.
I don't remember what I drank. Like, no idea.
You kind of went through a gamut of things for a while.
Like
you went
Prosecco.
Because I can't drink beer.
or Guinness.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
God, yeah, I had a Guinness at some point in time. Like, I don't know.
That's so thick.
Yeah, you know, a gluten person's got to do what a gluten person's got to do. So
Yes.
to partake.
I really wanted to get some of the Newport Craft Road Rage to drink today,
Yeah.
but PA has some weird laws and they don't ship to PA.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
We finished after we finally met up with Dave and the kids and got the beverages. Then we finished up back at the beach
Yes.
where we started. So which was very nice. And y'all went in the water afterward. I couldn't because
All
of my
in.
back, but right?
Yes.
Oh, it felt good.
Yeah. Ass in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why you guys had to go and take outdoor showers because you had little sand
Everywhere.
in the coochie.
We were wearing pants,
Yeah.
so it's not like sand.
Yeah,
got
but it
in
gets
there.
everywhere. No, it does. It doesn't matter because the waves come in and it crawls right up in there. It definitely must. Yes, I imagine I had to have been incredibly sandy because I was ass in sand.
Yeah, but we got some really cool pictures of you guys in the water. I think I remained standing. But the one thing that I would like to call out is that because of my back, for the longest time we were in the very, very back of the race. We were like the last group of runners.
Yeah.
And different races handle the last runners very differently. We've seen some races where there's a police officer in a vehicle and that police officer has their lights on and they're following the runner like the entire time, the last runner. One thing that I did not like was that we had a person who was at the very, very back of the pack with us because we were the last runners because of my back. And she identified herself as a marathon runner, or not a marathon runner, but a Marine, but obviously a marathon runner too. And she was not a nice person. She said she was a Marine and, tried to go and, stoke up some conversation with her. And I don't know. It was like everything about her demeanor was just, she was just not a nice person. So I remember, because I don't usually get mean with people, but I can get really mean with people when I get to that point.
You get
and
very scary sometimes.
Yes, I was very scary.
scary.
I was very scary with this woman. I basically I kind of directed her to go and once we passed by other runners to go and run with them because they were the last runners and we were no longer the last runners. So she needed to get the hell away from us.
Yes.
So, and then I don't think she ran with us again for the rest of the race.
No.
We were able to avoid her.
Yeah. So
Yes.
she was a complete, like, see you next Tuesday, though.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And what's that stand for?
I reserve that word for like some people that like just really, really have earned it. But I'm not going to go and say that word on air.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair.
But you know what it means.
Yes.
You use the first letter of
Yeah.
each of the words, people.
I hope you didn't really have to explain that
I
to
know,
anybody.
I know, but I feel like I had to, you know. So, all right, so I think the cool thing about what we did, because we came up on Friday because we were able to drive up,
Yep.
is we got to sightsee on
Yes.
Saturday, and I think that's the really cool thing about Rhode Island. And this particular race in Newport is that there was a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, we were busy on Saturday, right?
Well,
So
we went to the Breakers.
yeah.
Marble House.
These are all mansions that you can go tours of.
Yeah. And I mean, opulent.
Opulent.
Still furnished.
First in the morning, though, we went to a great breakfast. And then
Oh,
there
true.
was like a town craft fall festival that we
Yes.
walked through.
Yes. I
That
remember
was-
there was some live music
Yeah.
being played too. The kids
Yes.
were
Dancing to it.
Dancing
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And where did we go? The name of the place was
Corner
the
Cafe,
Corner
I think.
Cafe.
Yeah.
I think, Lori, that was the first time I ever realized that you and Maggie will both buy different meals, and then you get halfway through your meal. You're halfway there. And then you swap your meals.
Yes.
It's the first time I'd ever seen you guys do
we
that.
do a sweet and a savory.
Yes,
Because sometimes
and-
you can't make your decision which
Yep.
one you want.
Yep.
So you have
and now,
a little of both.
Now I know that you guys go and do that. But and then we took some funny videos, like on the grounds of the mansions and stuff.
Yeah.
Where I think we saw a bunch of like, gals doing Instagram videos and shots, and we were trying to
I feel
replicate
like
them.
it was kind of like the beginning of all the really ridiculous Instagram things. And we all know the influencers are the people that want to look real good on Instagram and take the photo, and they look ridiculous when they're posing and doing weird things. So yeah, we were doing a lot of mimicking back in 2018.
Yeah. And then, so essentially like all day Saturday, like we toured all these houses,
Yes.
and then we did our beer run that night. But we also had dinner with some of your friends, Lori.
Yeah, one of Dave's fraternity brothers, Todd, lives up in he's in Rhode Island, and we haven't seen him in a long time. So he and his wife and kids came, and we had dinner at Tickets Bar and Grill.
Yeah, Tickets Bar and Grill.
Because there was a Gator game on, right?
There is.
Absolutely. I was just
Yes.
about to say that.
Yeah,
Yes.
go Gators.
Yes. Yeah. and for some reason I did not take a picture of anything of the restaurant. I took a picture of
No.
a rat that they had. Like
I don't
it
have
was
even,
not a real rat. It was a
that.
decoration because they had started decorating for Halloween.
Yeah.
And
I
I
wonder
just-
if Dave has a picture of all of us. I
Yeah.
imagine he probably
We'll
does
have to-
somewhere.
We'll have to dig deep into that one.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Yeah. But
yeah, I love Todd. He's such a good guy.
yeah, and then I enjoyed because I guess after the race, Dave took the kids back, right? Because they left, and then we hung out.
Oh, yeah.
And because there was an Eagles game later in the day,
Yeah.
so after the race, rallied and went to O'Brien's pub,
Yes.
and they
Great
put us
sports bar.
Right, they put us at our own table, right?
Right. But do you remember the Uber ride there? The driver shows up to pick us up, and we were in our Eagles gear, and he's like, "Not in my car,"
Yeah.
and he didn't want to let us in at first.
I don't remember that.
Yes, I
Oh
do.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, he gave us grief.
Yes.
He finally drove us and dropped us off.
They're
but
Patriots,
he-
country up that way.
Yeah, he wasn't amused by our attire.
Yeah, we were decked out in our Eagles
And
gear.
we had just beat them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair, yeah.
Freshly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just beat them
Yeah,
in
that
the
was
Super
probably
Bowl.
still a little raw. So,
Yeah.
but no, that was cool. Like we had like a little corner in the outdoor area because it was like still warm outside.
Yeah, and they have a fabulous patio.
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had our
was a
TV
great
all to
place.
ourselves.
We did.
Yeah.
And we lost to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so the other thing that we did, because once Dave left with the kids, Dave left us with his sedan car.
Yeah.
And we decided that we were going to, because we were driving back, to do a little bit of a detour. So where did we detour to?
Mystic, Connecticut.
Yeah. Why Mystic, Connecticut?
Because I'm an 80s movie fanatic, and that is, Mystic Pizza, and
Classic.
classic.
Julia Roberts.
Yes.
Gotta love it.
Yes, one of her first movies. And, you know, I just had to try Mystic Pizza, and we saw the signs on the way up. And
You gotta stop.
yeah.
So what'd you guys think? Because you guys got to eat the regular pizza. What did you think of the regular pizza?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It wasn't like epic, but it was good. But being there was epic.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to add a little side note right now?
Oh, yeah, you can add a little side
Okay,
note. Just
so-
pull her up.
So
Pull her
for
up.
those of you that may be joining us on YouTube, Laura's dog has been insistent on being a part of this last half of our recording.
My husband just went fishing, and so she was left upstairs by herself. And now she is here with us. So
And she's like, if you're joining us on YouTube, she's like pawing my arm, and I'm like,
we've all been like batting her like down, like below the table. So yes, hi Kona. Don't eat the microphone though. But yeah, no, I enjoyed the gluten-free pizza at Mystic Pizza. I thought it was a very, very good pizza. I was a little disappointed because, I mean, while they have pictures of the Mystic Pizza movie,
Yeah.
like everywhere. I mean, it's plastered
look
everywhere.
like
It did not look like the
the
movie
set.
at all.
No.
Nothing whatsoever.
no,
So,
100% change.
yeah. So, all right. So the swag. So Lori, you and I are both wearing the shirts right now.
I
like the shirt.
I like the cut of the shirt. I like the feel of the shirt, but just like we always say, I'm just not a t-shirt person, but I've kept it.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's comfortable.
Yeah. It's like a tech shirt.
Yeah.
Julie, you were not a fan of the shirt.
No, you know what? I just didn't like the cut of it for me.
Yeah.
So it didn't. After like 5 years, I think I donated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. But you did go and buy a Newport sweatshirt.
Yes. You know what? I was hoping to buy something at the expo. The expo was super small and really didn't have any merch. So I just bought, a Newport sweatshirt from the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things too, that when, you go to these races that are smaller, a lot of times they don't have a lot of merch, which kind of like sucks for like people like, you're running like a couple of marathons. You want to get the swag from
Right,
it,
right.
know? But yeah. So, but then the medals
Love it.
are really, really cool. Julie, you want to describe the medal?
Oh, I can show you if you're on YouTube. So it is like a ship in a bottle, which I think is super cute.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like transparent too,
Yeah,
right?
you have like like stained glass-ish.
Yes. Yes.
It's really cool. It's got a lighthouse on it as well.
Yeah, that was a solid. It's
just very
solid
unique.
medal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
We
very easy to
liked
pick out.
we liked that one.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. All right, girls. So, just thinking about, would you run this race again, Julie? Would you run it again?
Hard for me to answer because I don't know if I have another full marathon.
If you did have another one in you, would you recommend it to
There are
people?
so many others that I would want to run rather than revisiting it.
That's fair.
But
That is fair.
I absolutely, and I have recommended. I had a friend's daughter who went and did the half. So I would recommend it, but not for me again.
Got it. Okay. How about you, Laura?
Yep. I'd do it. Especially like if there's a 2-time around, that's the one I'd go back. I'd run it.
Yeah, I would want to run that again and then do it more justice.
Yeah.
Just
Enjoy it
and
more.
enjoy it versus like how I experienced it. Because
Yeah.
I did not enjoy it the way that I would have liked to.
Yeah. It is interesting. Like if you're going for time or if you're running injured, you kind of get into like this tunnel vision experience with a race where you really can't experience what's going on around you or the
just have
sights
one
and the ceilings
focus.
because you're so focused on the run, so focused on the time. Or the fact that you're in pain. Like it becomes very singular
Yes.
when you're racing. So it's better when you're able to kind of
Yeah, and maybe I'll
open up
drop
and
like
see.
a lot of less F-bombs during like if I run this race again, because there were a lot of those dropped. I think at some point in time I was in so much pain. I think, do you guys remember me just screaming? Like we were running down a road and I just yelled and then I was like, okay, like I got that out of my system.
I do remember
You know?
that.
I do.
Yep.
Yeah, that was tough.
All right, so next week is a big week.
Yeah.
A, it's Laura's birthday.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
And B, we will be running Broad Street, in which we're hoping to use it as a training run for the Marathon du Medoc.
Yeah, there might be a bottle of wine that gets consumed the entire way we are running the Broad Street Run, which is 10 miles. So 10
Yes.
miles of wine.
We are planning on having a little sip every mile.
Yes.
At the mile marker,
Yes.
I say.
Yes.
What do you say?
I'm game. I'm game, my friend.
All right. Well, we are going to try and make this happen, but we'll see because backpacks are not allowed on the course. So we will do our best to see if we can make that happen. So we love to thank you guys for checking in with us today and listening. We always appreciate all the love that we're getting. Thanks for hanging with us. Now go make mile 20 your bitch.
Peace out.